Hi there, welcome to this video where I'm going to show you how in Bubble you can create collapsible groups or accordion groups that work a little bit like this. You may see them on websites. They're often used for things like FAQ pages on websites, but they can be really useful throughout applications on hiding data that you don't want to be shown all the time, or you just want to show it sometimes. It can be really good for minimizing it. And we're going to create two different versions, one where you can open up any amount of these, and another version where you can only open one at a time. So either number 1 or number 3 or number 5, and the other ones collapse. So that's what I'm going to show you in this video. So let's get into it. Let's create a blank page on Bubble, or a pretty blank page. I've just got these two groups with a title and a bit of subtext in each one. First of all, I should say that I have got the data that I'm going to show as option sets. This works pretty much identically if the data is just a normal data type. The only difference is how you retrieve the data into the repeating group. It's just the same as any other repeating group. It's just, different way of pulling the data. But the data I'm going to show is, which one is it? Test items. That's the one, where each item has a display text, which is just thing 1, thing 2. And then it's also got an attribute of body text. But this can be done with any amount of things. We could add in extra attributes and colors and images and videos and whatnot, really customize it how you like. So that's the data that I'm going to be showing. So let's get started with which one was this? Oh yeah, opening many at one time. So first of all, we are going to add a repeating group and put it within this group here. We're going to make this group here full width, and we're going to make the repeating group full width as well. Then we are going to set the content type to the test items, and this is the bit where it's going to be different if you're working with data types rather than just option sets. I'm going to go all test items, but if you're doing data, you would just do a search for, or getting the data from somewhere else, but we're going to use all test items. And that's okay. So then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a group and put that group within one of the cells. One other thing we can do actually is turn off this, so we don't have a fixed number of rows. I'm going to set this to 30. Okay, so then we're going to go to the group within a repeating group cell, and we're going to call this each thing. Probably a better name out there for it, but that will do. Let's make it full width. Let's add a little bit of spacing. So I'm going to give it 5 margin all around, and I'm going to give it 10 margin within. I think that should be fine. Then I'm going to add a little bit of text within, and I'm actually going to make this each thing group row. Actually, what I need to do is I need to create a top group and a expandable group. So I'm going to click on this test text or text B, and I'm going to group it in a row container. I'm going to call this top group, and yeah, this needs to be a row, which it is, and actually this one needs to be a column. Okay, that's fine. Yep. So then I'm going to add in an icon into the top group. So the top group is going to be the part which, have we got it here? Yeah, I've got it here. So the top group is going to be thing 1 and the icon, and then the expanded group is going to be the group where this text is. So let's add in an icon, which is going to go in that top group. And I'm going to find a down icon. There we go. That one will do. And then I'm going to just change some of the spacing so that this is full width and that those elements are as far apart from each other at different ends. So that you can see they're opposing each other. Then, so we've got our top group. I'm actually going to change the text here so that it is larger, so a bit of a heading. I'm going to make it bold. Okay, we need to make sure that the minimum height, I like to set this to 0, just so that it's not unnecessarily big. Then we're going to create the expandable group. So, if I can spell group correctly, that'll do. And put that group there and call this expanded group. Now this is where you can put anything in this group. I'm just going to put text, but you could put images, you could put videos, you could do whatever. But I am just going to have some text, And that's fine for now. We are going to now pull in the information from each cell into these two fields. So let's start off with the top one, and that's going to be, oh yeah, we can't get it from the row. That's fine. We are just going to need to set all of these content types to test item and make it the current cell's test thing. And the same with the top group, make it a test thing or test item, and make it the parent group's test thing. And then we'll be able to have access to the parent group's display. That's what we want. Then we're going to do the same with the expanded group. We're going to change the content type to test items, and we're going to get the parent group's test item. And we're going to change this to the body text. Then we're also going to, it's not liking that. Why is it not liking that? Yes, okay. I've assigned text to a type that should not be text. So we're just going to keep it as a test item. And then the text will be the body text. There we go. Okay, then we just need to change the height of the expanded item to 0, just so that it's not unnecessarily large. And what we want to do now is make it so that the expanded group can be hidden. So we're going to select collapse when hidden, and I'm going to add a little bit of animation to this, which is going to be, slide up and down is fine. You could add in a custom animation if you wanted to make it look a little bit slicker, but for now this is going to work fine. So now what we need to do is add in the functionality that will make it expandable, right? Because at the moment it's just a repeating group. In fact, we can give it a preview and we should be able to see that it is just a repeating group. And actually I probably do I'm going to do a little bit more styling. Not this is a tutorial upon styling, but let's just make it look a little bit better. So we are going to get rid of the separators, and we're going to get rid of the border on the repeating group. And on the each thing group, we're going to add in a border with roundness 10 and with a solid border. Let's see what that looks like now. Okay, a little bit better. You can see where we're heading. So now what we want to do is go into each thing, this group, which probably should have a better name, but it's going to do for now. And we're going to create a new custom, custom state. So that is going to be expanded. And it's going to be a yes-no type. And to start with, let's create that. To start with, we want all of them to be no, because we don't want it to be expanded to start with. Then what we're going to do is we are going to make it so that whenever the top group is clicked, this expanded custom state is changed. So let's go top group. Let's go add workflow. And let's add a set state of an element. And the set state is going to be each thing. Now, this is only going to apply to the each thing group that's in that, a cell, each cell. So we don't need to worry about how that's going to work for many different cells, because it's only going to apply to that one group. Let's go expanded. And what we're going to do here is set it to each thing. Each thing's expanded is no, and this is going to work as a toggle. So is no. If it is yes, it will revert to no, and if it's no, it will revert to yes. So essentially it toggles it on and off. Then what we need to do, so we've got that working, is we need to set up the expanded group to either show or not show, depending on what that toggle is doing. So let's go over to the conditional, and by default, let's not show it. So let's turn it off, and then let's say when, and let's search for each thing is expanded, is yes, we want to show it. So there we go. Now, let's give it a go. Let's see if I've missed anything or not. So we should not see any of that body text. We should just see the heading. Yep, there we go. And when we click on any one thing, we can see it expands. So we can do the top one, we can do number 3, we can do number 2, and we can click number 3 and it shrinks, or number 2 and it shrinks, number 1 and it shrinks. There we go. All right, so let's do the same, but with only being able to open one at a time. So I'm going to cheat a little bit and just copy special with workflows over into this group here. So this is now working exactly the same as the one on the top, and I'm just going to edit it. So let's first of all make it full width. There we go, make that full width. Now, what I'm going to do here is I am going to take away the custom state on each one of each things. I'm really regretting calling it each thing now. Should give it a better name, which is going to throw up some issues, which is fine. I'm just going to go in and delete these. Come on, is it going to open up on the back end? There we go. So I'm just going to delete that and delete that. So now what we want to do is, instead of each group having its own custom state, we want to apply a custom state to the repeating group as a whole. So let's select the repeating group, and I'm going to create a custom state, and I'm going to call it expanded cells index. And I'm going to call this, I'm going to make it a number. I'm going to create that, and the default is, well, we could set it as blank to have none of them open by default. We could set it to 1 to have the first one open by default, or we could have it as 5 or 3 if we wanted any of those to open as default. I'm going to leave it as 1. We'll create it as 1 so that by default the first one is appearing. So then what we want to do is, for each expanded group, we want to create a conditional, and we want to say when, and let me rename the repeating group because otherwise this is going to get very complicated. Let's call it RG2. Not the best naming conventions here, but it will do for this video. When RG2, when its expanded cells index is, and then this cells index, that's when we want the expanded group to show. So let's give it a load now, and what we should see is that only the top one appears, or only the top one is expanded, the rest should be hidden. And we haven't added any actions to it, so we shouldn't be able to click. Well, we can click, but nothing happens. Okay, so now what we need to do is make it so that when we click, the custom state changes from number 1 to number 3, or whichever one we click. So let's go to the top group of this repeated group down here. Let's edit workflow, and we are going to set the state of an element, and that element is going to be RG2 expanded cells index, and that's going to be equal to the current cells index. So it's going to take the index of the current cell. So if that's if that's cell 3, it's going to be cell 3. So show cell 3's expanded. That is all we need to do, I think. Let's see. I don't think I've missed anything. Give it a reload, and we should see the number 1 is open by default. If I click number 3, then just number 3 opens, or number 5, just number 5 opens. And as I said, we should be able to go in and find RG1, RG2 even, and change this to blank. And then if it's blank, by default, none of them should open. Let's have a look. There we go. So none of them open, then I can still open it like this. So there we go. There is a basic tutorial on how to create these accordions, or these collapsible groups within Bubble, which you can use for a whole range of different things of showing and hiding data. It can be quite a good way to group data, so then if you've got lots of data, not all of it is shown at once, but the user can decide on what data they want to see. So there are different complications you can do to this. So for instance, we could create it so that when this is clicked again, it's hidden, the same as what happens on the top here. But for now, I'm just going to leave it as this. If you have any questions like this, then do leave it down below, and I'll try to get back to you. If you've liked this video, it'd be great if you can give it a thumbs up and a like. And of course, if you want to see more videos like this, then please do subscribe and check out the other videos that I've got. That's it for now. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.